Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another episode of Learn to Play Games. My name is Lance, and today we're going to take a look at Fantahzee Hordes and Heroes. This is an older game by AEG. It is a 2 to 5 player game that takes roughly 45 minutes to an hour and a half to play, and it is a competitive game, so each player is working against the other players to gain the most victory points to be the overall winner at the end of the game. So in the game itself, the players are playing leaders that are trying to put together teams of heroes to fight off the hordes of enemies that are trying to destroy the town. The players will collect team members and play different action cards and that throughout their turn, and then they will roll their dice and hope to get certain combinations and numbers and whatnot to activate their different team members. And then they'll be able to go off and fight different enemy hordes and collect different enemies that'll be worth victory points at the end of the game. The player that is able to do this the best will save the town and be the new savior of that town and the winner of the game. So my opinions of this game, I've had some fun with this one. I brought it to the table and a number of my friends had a really good time with this one. It has some really interesting push your luck elements to it, obviously with the dice rolling and the combination of playing different cards and action cards and heroes and putting together a small team, as you can only have a maximum of 5 heroes out at any time. And you can't really grow too attached to those heroes because the ones that are activated based on what the enemies are that you're fighting will end up killing some of those heroes throughout the game. So you're going to be constantly putting down new heroes and losing some of the old ones and potentially losing good ones depending upon which ones you've activated in your turn. So there's a lot of different strategy elements to it as well that I've really enjoyed. So I definitely recommend checking this one out if you enjoy dice chuckers or push your luck kind of games. This one does a good job at it, and it's very easy to learn and teach, as you guys are going to see in this video. Of course, these are just my opinions. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions in the comments below. Let me know if this is one you guys are playing or have played, if you enjoyed it or haven't enjoyed it. Let me know in those comments below what you guys think as well. And as always, if you guys enjoy these videos, if you like what I do, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to my channel, as it will help me to continue to grow and be able to bring these games to you guys. And if you want to stay up to date on all my videos, consider ringing the bell as well so you get notifications anytime I release new content. So let's go ahead and head to the table and I'll teach you guys how to play. In the game, the players are going to be using 2 different types of cards. The first type we're going to look at here are the action cards. And there are 6 different action cards included in the deck. Each action card will have the action card symbol at the top corner here, then the name of the card and the ability of the card underneath. The other type of card players are going to be using are the hero cards, and these are broken into 3 different classes. We have the artificers, the mages, and warrior classes. Each of these cards is also going to have the power of that character at the top corner when that character is activated, then the character's image, the name of the character, any special abilities or effects they'll have when they activate, and finally their activation cost in dice. And some of the classes are going to have different things, such as the artificers here are going to have steam cost as well. So certain cards of theirs will generate steam, which you can use, or you can use the symbols at the bottom to activate. And then some of the heroes are also going to have these X's here, which means that you can use any set of dice. For example, with this one, you'll have to use 3 6s, and then you can use a pair of 5s or a pair of 4s or whatever you want to for that. It just has to be the same number. And same for this one here. You could do 5 1s or 5 2s. It just has to be the same. The players will be battling different types of enemies. There are 2 different levels. We have level 1 and level 2 enemies. Level 1 enemies are going to be distinguished by their white borders and the little image on the top corner of the little guy. The level 2 enemies will have a gray border and the image of a dragon in the top corner. Then you'll also have the power level of that enemy, their image and their name, and then any special effects that enemy has, which there are ambush effects, counterattack effects, and even some other more specific effects for particular enemies. Down in the bottom corner here is the number of victory points that enemy will grant at the end of the game. And then some enemies are also going to grant treasure, whether it's a level 2 treasure or level 1 treasure. There's also 5 boss level characters in the game, and these are simply distinguished by their high power levels. As you guys can see here, each of the bosses range from 12 to 14. Also, each boss is going to have a label here listing it as a boss monster, and their different abilities in there are also going to be quite a bit nastier than most of the enemies you're going to face, as well as their victory points that they're worth at the end of the game. Now, when the players kill a boss, they're going to flip over a Doom token to its completed side. And when the players complete 3 Doom tokens, the end of the game will be triggered. The last two decks you'll be using are the treasure deck, which their cards are double-sided. Each side will have a level 1 treasure and a level 2 treasure. There are two different types of level 1 treasure. We have the magic bow and the magic armor. And then there's only one type of level 2 treasure, which is the orb of power. Each of these will give you an effect when it is activated. And in order to activate it, you have to activate the character that treasure is equipped to. And then based on the enemy type that you defeat, it'll show the number of treasure chests. If it shows 1, then you'll get this side of the card. And if it is a level 2 treasure chest or shows 2 treasure, you'll get the other side. Finally, we have the town cards, and each of these cards will list a section of the town, the number of victory points you'll lose at the end of the game, and then some of these cards will also have an additional effect that you'll have to resolve at the end of your turn when you take this. For board setup, the first thing you're going to do is create the monster decks. So you're going to grab the 5 boss monster cards, shuffle them up. To create the 5 decks, you'll go ahead and place out one monster in each of the decks. Then you can go ahead and grab the level 2 monsters, again with the gray round backed border, and give them a shuffle, which I've already done, and then deal out the whole deck to each of the piles. Once you've completed that, then go ahead and take each pile and shuffle it up randomly so that the boss monster is shuffled in there somewhere. Once you've done that, then you can go ahead and grab all the level 1 monsters, which again will have the white border on them, and then shuffle that deck up and deal that out as well to each of the 5 decks until that deck is completely used. Now once you've dealt out all of the level 1 monsters, do not shuffle those decks anymore. You will always have 6 level 1 monsters, then the level 2 monsters and the boss mixed in at the bottom. You can also shuffle up and place out the treasure deck. You can place out the 3 Doom tokens that you're trying to complete. The town deck can go on one side, and then you can place the hero deck on the other. From there, then you can also place out all the dice that you'll need for the game. Deal each player 5 cards. So I'm going to go ahead and set up for a 2-player game. So each player will receive 5 cards, and then you'll choose one player to be the starting player. So we'll have our player over here be the starting player, which then the player to their right will receive the last player marker, which will come into play towards the end of the game. From here, we're ready to start the game. Fantahzee is played over an undefined number of rounds. During each round, each player will get to take a turn. Starting with the first player and going clockwise, each player will get to take their turn, and during their turn, they're going to get to perform 4 phases in order, which are the action, dice, horde, and end phase. This is going to continue until the players collectively turn over 3 Doom tokens to their completed side, and then the end game will be triggered, where until the last player gets to take their turn, players will continue, and then once the last player has taken their turn, the players will move into the scoring phase where they'll count up the number of victory points they have, and the player that has the most will be the overall winner. When the players are ready to begin the game, then go ahead and flip over the top card of each of the Horde decks. From here, we're ready to move into the player's turn. So the first phase in each player's turn is the action phase, where you can recruit up to 2 heroes to your party and play up to 2 action cards from your hand. This can be done in any order you choose, and you can only have up to 5 heroes in play in your party at any time. So if you have 5 and you wish to play a new one, you must choose one of the 5 that you have to discard. So let's go and take a look at an example of this. We have 1 action card, which again is listed at the top corner there, and we have 4 different heroes to choose from that we can play. Now again, we can only play up to 2 heroes during our turn. So let's go ahead and start off with playing the Steam Engineer. Let's go ahead and play this card, which is our action card. This will get us 1 extra die this turn. And let's go ahead and play the Scout as our second hero that we can play. Once you've played all the cards you're able to, then you're ready to move into the second phase, which is the dice phase. So during the dice phase, your hero will receive 5 dice, plus any additional dice for any cards that they've played this turn. So with this one, by the power of, it's going to get us 1 extra die this turn. So we'll go ahead and add this to our dice pool, and then from there we can go ahead and give them a roll. Now once you have rolled your dice, you can choose to spend any of them to activate heroes' abilities. So for example, we can spend this one here to activate our hero here, the Steam Engineer, and once he's active, he's going to give us 3 steam and 1 shield this turn. Now we can also choose to hold onto this die and see what else we get, as we're able to roll the dice that we have up to 2 additional times. Now any dice that we've spent to activate a hero are already considered locked, so we could not choose to reroll those. So if we spent this one on the Steam Engineer, then we could not choose to reroll it with these other dice. And then some heroes will also, once activated, will give you additional dice and whatnot as well. So if we roll these a second time, just as an example, then we can choose to spend any of these to activate any other heroes that we have. With the Scout, she has an X, which means we can use any symbol that we want. So we could use this 5 or one of the 2s or whatever we choose. Now, we don't have any other heroes as both of our heroes have been activated, and so the rest of the dice are just wasted. But like I said, we do have one additional reroll. You roll your initial roll and then up to 2 rerolls if you need them. Once our player is done with any of the rerolls that they need and activating any of the heroes that they wish to activate, we're going to move into the attack step of the dice phase. So during this step, we're going to total up all of the power points on our active heroes. So right now we have 3 points, and then we can choose any of the monsters to fight with those points. Each monster has a number of power points at the top corner, and so we're going to simply attack a monster that is equal to or less than our total power, and then subtract that monster's power from ours. And then we can continue doing this. So for example, our players have a total of 3 points of power. So we could attack this Toxic Slime here, or the Bone Warrior, but not any of the others as they have a much higher attack power. So let's go ahead and say, for example, that we attack this Bone Warrior. So we subtract our 3 points so we don't have any power left, and then we simply place him in front of us. If we would have additional power at that point, then we could choose to continue fighting monsters that are revealed, or choose a pile with a face-down monster and proceed to go deeper into that pile by flipping over and revealing that monster, and then fighting it. Now, if you reveal a monster and it is higher power than you have remaining, then your turn immediately ends. The other important thing is that the last stack in the row is called the Vanguard. In this stack, if you do not defeat the monster, you're going to be required to draw a town card, which I'll show you guys a little bit later. So once you're done allocating power, then you're ready to move into the counterattack step. So during this step, you're going to add up the counterattack values on all your defeated monsters. If any of your active heroes or abilities have shields, you're going to get to subtract them from the counterattack total. Then your active hero must take the amount of damage equal to the remaining total of counterattack, and then subtract that from the hero's strength from the counterattack total. If any remains, you're going to repeat this process. So with our Bone Warrior here, he had a counterattack of 1, and our Steam Engineer here grants us 1 shield. So we have blocked the 1 point of damage that our Bone Warrior had. But let's say, for example, that our Steam Engineer here had not been activated. So our Scout would have been the only one activated, and so she doesn't have any shields, so she would take 1 point of damage and be eliminated, as any damage will wipe out a hero. Now, if, say, for example, he would have had 3 counterattack, she would have taken 2, as her power is 2, and then any remaining could either have to be distributed to another active hero, or if you don't have any other active heroes, then it's simply wasted, as you cannot distribute it among any heroes that are not activated this round. Once you're done with the counterattack step, then this monster can be flipped over and placed face down in your victory pile. If the monster you defeated shows a picture of a treasure, then you'll go ahead and take the top treasure card of the treasure deck, and based on the number of treasures, you'll turn it to that side. So if the monster gave you 1 treasure, you'll go with the level 1, and if he gave you a level 2 treasure, you go with the level 2. And then simply choose one of the active heroes and place it underneath that active hero with that side up. So let's say, for example, that we would have gotten a level 1, then we could have given it to the Steam Engineer or our Scout, and then placed it underneath them. The third phase in the round is the Horde Phase. So if there is a monster face up in the Vanguard stack, which is the last stack in the row, then you must destroy a town card by revealing it and resolving its effects, and then adding it to your victory point pile. And it'll subtract the number of points at the end of the game worth that value. So we got lucky here with the gates, it doesn't subtract any. So our player lucked out. Now from there, then if any stacks do not have a revealed monster, you're going to flip over the top card to reveal a new monster. So our stack over here will get flipped over. And then you're going to add up the ambush values for all the face-up monsters. If the active heroes have shields, you're going to subtract them from this total. Then the active heroes must take remaining ambush damage. So unfortunately, we have another guy that came up with ambush, and we already had 3 out there. So they're going to do a total of 4 points of damage to us. And our hero here only has 1 shield, so they're still going to do 3 points of damage that we have to distribute it among all of our active heroes. Again, equal to their power. So the scout unfortunately can take 2 and will be eliminated, but there's still 1 remaining, which means that our poor steam engineer is also going to go, and our player has lost both of their active heroes this turn. We can also choose to discard our cards now, as those have no more use. The fourth and final phase in a player's turn is the end phase. During this phase, you're going to go ahead and draw 4 cards from the hero deck, and then add them to your hands. From there, then you're going to look through your hand and discard down to 5 cards, unless you have an active hero that would have given you an ability to hold more cards. So our player is down to 5 cards. From there, then you can go ahead and remove any dice from any hero cards, and then the next player in clockwise order would go ahead and start their turn. So we'd move over to our other player over here to start their turn. So let me go ahead and show you guys another turn. So we're going to move over to our player over here to take their turn. So they're going to look through their cards and choose to play some. So let's go ahead and play our action card, as we can do it in any order we want. This is a charge card, and we'll add +1 strength to all of our heroes this turn. Then let's go ahead and play our Steamsmith and our Steam Brute, and let's see if we can activate those. Then we're going to go ahead and gather our dice pool. So we have 5 dice for this, and we don't have any cards that'll give us any additional. Okay, so we could potentially activate the Steam Brute with that, but our Steamsmith is our big one here. He's going to give us 4 steam if we can activate him, which will let us activate that guy as well. So let's go ahead and roll again with our rerolls. And nothing, we have 1 there, so let's go ahead and place that, and we'll try one more time. And we were able to get it, so we have plenty of 4s. We actually had a bunch of 4s there. So we're going to go ahead and activate our Steamsmith, and then he'll give us 4 steam, which will activate the Steam Brute. So then we're going to total up our points, so we have 4, 5, 6, 7 points, and then our card will give us 1 point for each additional hero. So that'll get us a total of 9 points that we can distribute amongst the enemies. So let's go ahead and start. We definitely do not want the Vanguard to have a card there. So let's go ahead and remove that and add it to our stack. And then we can choose again to either attack another face-up enemy or continue going down in this stack. Now, once you start flipping over a card in a stack, you have to stay with that stack. But if you choose first, so since we defeated this guy, say like we went and hit this guy as well, then we could also choose to continue down in that stack. But once you start, you have to continue with that one. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and fight the Zombie Knight as well, as he has also got an ambush. That is all of our points. So at this point, then we would total up any counterattack, and neither of our enemies have a counterattack. So then we're going to go ahead and flip this over to our victory pile and move into the Horde phase. So during the Horde phase, we do not have an enemy in the Vanguard that's face up, so we don't have to worry about a town. Then we're going to go ahead and flip over those cards for the enemies, ambush, and that. So when we'll total up the ambush, we have 3. We do not have any shields on our guys, so somebody is going to take 3 points of damage. So let's go ahead and drop the Steam Brute here, as he can take up to 4 points. So we'll discard him. And then we can go ahead and discard our dice, as we've taken care of all the ambush points. And we'll go ahead and draw back up our hand of 4 cards. And we'll look at these compared to these. And let's go ahead and drop one of these scouts here. That'll bring us down to our 5 cards. And our player's done. We'll be ready to move back over to the other player. So our players are going to continue taking turns, going deeper into the decks. So let's go ahead and reveal some more of these cards until they get farther down in the deck and find a boss. So let's keep looking. Here we are. So we have a boss. So when one of our players defeats the boss, they're going to add that to their stack just like normal, and then they're going to flip over one of the Doom tokens. Now, once you've defeated 3 bosses, one in each of the 3 different stacks, and completed that, that will trigger the end of the game. If the player with the last player token was the player that finished off the third boss, the game will end immediately. If another player had defeated that third boss, then the game will continue until the last player has taken their turn. Once they are done, then they're going to go ahead and total up all the cards in their victory pile and subtract any town cards they have in there from that victory total. The player that has the most points will be the overall winner at the end of the game. Well, I hope you guys found that video helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those in the comment section below and I'll do my best to answer them. Or swing over to my Facebook and Twitter accounts and drop me a message there. I'd love to hear from you guys there and I'd love to start a conversation. As always, thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch my videos and to leave me feedback on them. I do really appreciate it and I do take into account everything you guys say to try to make the best possible videos. And if you enjoy these videos, if you like what I do, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to my channel. And as always, I will see you guys later.